How's it going, everyone? Got quite a lot to talk about in this video. One of the somewhat underrated games of 2023. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. I know a lot of you guys had your opinions on Immortals of Aveum. A lot of you guys skipped the game entirely. I played it. I did enjoy aspects of it, but that $70 price tag, aye. Games like this and games like Forspoken are a clear indicator of titles that should not be $70. But Immortals of Aveum is getting cheaper and cheaper, and it is getting a huge free update on November the 16th. We'll talk all about that. Speaking of free, Zenless Zone Zero is the latest Hoyoverse title, and it has gotten a bit of an update, and Gran Turismo 7, the major free update for that, has dropped, and we have the opening video for that dropping as well. Just want to talk a little bit about that at the end of this video. But first of all, Immortals of Aveum, the Echo Collector update, is dropping on November the 16th, and it is coming with it a lot of new content. So, speaking in a press release, Immortals of Aveum development studio Ascendant Studio noted that the game will be featuring a lot of new content with this free update on November the 16th. New playable content, gear, and lore in the free gameplay content update, the Echo Collector. Continue the fight for Aveum with New Game Plus. Brave the new Grand Magnus difficulty and take on foes like never before. The New Game Plus feature is the most fan-requested feature to be added into the game, and with this, you can upgrade your epic and legendary gear to higher levels with Forge and New Game Plus, rebalanced enemy health, damage, and abilities. Jack carries over forward most spells and abilities unlocked in a previous playthrough. Augment spells cannot carry forward due to their unlock requirements and adjustments made to experience and currency earned while playing. Meanwhile, the Grand Magnus difficulty does offer a brand new set of challenges, making the game even more difficult. Now, let's talk about Immortals of Aveum. If you guys are unaware, this game was a commercial, I think flop would be fair to say. I mean, so much so that the development studio did mass layoffs after the release of the game. Now, that isn't unheard of when something like that happens. When a game is released, the project is done, and then the studio, does some downsizing because they're working on a new project that might be smaller in scale. They're doing this free update. But in the case of Immortals of Aveum, you could tell that this game was a commercial. Like, disaster might be a little bit of a stretch without getting official numbers or anything like that, but given the length of layoffs and just the talk and the rhetoric attached to the game, you could tell that I talked about it going into the release of this game, that this game was in trouble heading into its August release. Not only because it was coming out in August and Armored Core 6 was coming out and a lot of games were about to come out and this one was going to fall to the wayside. Even if it hit that original July date, while I think that would have been slightly beneficial, I still think ultimately people would have skipped out on the game in droves because of that $70 price tag. I get it that these EA Originals titles, they're just gonna be $70, I guess. Wild Hearts was $70 as well, but come on, man. Immortals of Aveum, if this game was scaled back a little bit and was like a budget release, I think it would have done a lot better because there are aspects of Immortals of Aveum that I loved. I think the gameplay in this is great. I think the fast-paced nature of it, it's just fun as hell to go through. Even if you scaled back elements like the technical visuals and things like that, I think from a core and fundamental standpoint, there's something really good here. Narratively, the game was just not good whatsoever. The voice acting was terrible. Those aspects of the game, bro, you could literally eliminate the entire storytelling and just make this a gameplay-focused title, and I would have been happy with that. Like, the gameplay, the platforming, the puzzles, I thought the puzzles were even well done. Yo, just make it focused on that. Screw the narrative in this game. The strength in this game is the gameplay, and from that aspect, I really liked it. But the other aspects, and it being a $70 title, and man, not every game can get away with the $70 price tag. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 can, but that's Spider-Man 2. A Final Fantasy 16 can, but that's Final Fantasy 16. Immortals of Aveum, a new IP being done by a relatively unknown studio, like, that's just not gonna fly. And I get it, games are getting more and more expensive to develop for, but that's why I constantly go back to Sean Layden's statement that we gotta scale these games back somehow, some way, and I get it that the expectations are so high now, but this is just a battle, I guess, we're gonna fight for forever. I do imagine that come Black Friday, holiday sales, everything like that, Immortals of Aveum might be down to sub $30, and hey, if you can get this game for sub $30, I think at that point, that's a decent price point. Don't get it twisted, at some point this game is gonna get added to EA Access as well. At some point this game is gonna be in the bargain bin for $10, and once it's at $10, oh, I'm gonna recommend it all day long, because at that point the game is gonna be very much worth it, but $70 is just way too much, and by the time it's $10, like, you're gonna have this free update out, you're gonna have bonus content and everything like that. I doubt that we're ever gonna get, like, you know, a sequel or anything like that, but I do think the game showcased that Ascendant Studios is capable of putting out a banger of a title from a gameplay standpoint, and maybe it'll be something they can build off of in the future. We'll see how, you know, their story eventually goes, but I would say check out the game once it is very, very cheap. You know, $30 at minimum, but even cheaper than that. Like, once it's down to 15, 10 bucks, like, it's gonna be very much worth it. Moving on from that, I do want to note that MiHoYo has announced the second closed beta test for the urban fantasy action RPG Zenless Zone Zero. Now, the game will be released on PC, iOS, and Android as far as this beta release goes, so it won't be on PlayStation 5. However, it will ultimately be available for consoles as well. Which consoles haven't been specified, but given Hoyoverse's other releases, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, it'll eventually be on PlayStation 5. I'm very confident saying that potentially PlayStation 4 as well. Looks like a pretty cool game. It's another one that very much has that anime aesthetic that'll, you know, attract a lot of people. Just make sure you are sensible with your bank account when it comes to a game like this. I know a lot of people with Genshin Impact, they were down bad, so to speak. So yeah, we do have some mech action combat, and you guys know me, anime mech action combat. Like, yo, sign me up for that, even if, you know, free-to-play RPGs like this isn't something I really get into, but Zenless Zone Zero should hopefully be out sometime in 2024. But if you have an iOS or Android platform, which I imagine 99% of you do, you'll be able to play the game, and you can even sign up for the beta test and check it out on that. And as far as the PC release goes, it's not like this is going to be a super difficult game to run, so even if you have like a mid-level laptop, you should be able to run the game at various settings and whatnot. And again, most of you guys have an iOS or an Android device, so you can play it that way as well. Lastly, I do want to note GT7's update Spec 2 has officially dropped. They have dropped the update opening movie, and that is 6.5 minutes at length. Gran Turismo 7 is a very good game that has held up in price surprisingly. Hasn't been added to PlayStation Plus Extra, but this update is now available, and the game, I would imagine, would be seeing a steep discount come Black Friday, and if it's around like 30 bucks, I would say pick this up as well, which is kind of wild to say. The game's a year and a half old, and it's still like the PlayStation 5 version of the game, remember, 60 on PS4, 70 on PS5. The PS5 version is still going for $70, so, and on sale it's going for like $40, so like a year and a half removed from the release of the game, how many games are holding up a price point at that level? This game came out March of 2022, so it's been 20 months since the game has come out, and it's still going on sale for $40. Like, you don't see games hold up at that price point that often. I feel like COD even went down a deeper discount than GT7 is going, but hey, you know, more power to them. If you don't know, the update does include new cinematic introduction. That is the opening cinematic that I just mentioned. 7 new cars have been included, the Lake Louise track, 3 extra menus, new events, new master license, meeting place updates, split screen racing on PlayStation 5, up to 4 players split screen gameplay. Each player must have an individual controller. Of course, this is only PS5, slower shutter speeds, new scapes collection, and new dashboard as well. GT7 has a consistent stream of updates, and I enjoyed the game quite a bit. Like, these sim racers aren't titles that I get super into, but you know, they're always a fun time as far as games that you can just kick back and relax. I always feel like Gran Turismo, and yes, Forza is applicable to that. I'm more of a Forza Horizon guy these days when it comes to Forza, and GT, kind of going back to GT as far as my sim racer of preference, but I still need to put more time into the new Forza Motorsport. But nonetheless, GT7 I really enjoyed. Is it a game I'm playing consistently these days? No, I can't, you know, have it in my juggle of games with all these other titles coming up. But if you haven't played it and you find it on sale come Black Friday at like $30 or so, like, I think spending $40 on a game that's 20 months old is a little bit wild. But I mean, if you're in the mood for a sim racer, have at it. And at some point, I would imagine that this is going to get added to Plus Extra, but this is one of those games, along with like a Last of Us Part 2, and obviously God of War Ragnarok has yet to be added. But I'm sure GT7, I would imagine it'll be added sometime in 2024. But that'll do it for me. Again, Immortals of Aveum getting a massive free update. This is a game that if it's sub 30 bucks come Black Friday, which I don't think is a stretch, even though it just came out back in August and it was a $70 release, this is one of those games that I could see getting a little bit cheaper. By the way, a demo is also going to be released for the game, so if you do want to check that out, that'll be free. I should have mentioned that right off the top while talking about the game, but yeah, a demo will be released, and that'll hopefully give people incentive in checking the game out, more of a trial, so to speak. But check that out. Again, don't buy it at 70 bucks, absolutely not. The deluxe edition was a ripoff for that game, but you know, if the standard edition down to like 30 or so dollars, I think it'll be well worth it. Zenless Zone Zero, it will be coming to consoles, but this beta test is on PC, iOS, and Android, and GT7, that free update is live. Opening video has dropped, and a sizable update. Hopefully that gets down to like 30 or so come Black Friday. Like, think about that for a second. Immortals of Aveum came out in August for 70 bucks, and I'm talking about that game being sub 30 come Black Friday. I would put more likelihood right now that Immortals of Aveum hits sub 30 than GT7 hits sub 30 for the PS5 version. Think about that for a second, how wild that is. You know, sometimes various games hit the bargain bin a lot quicker than others. But that'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.